How are you doing, Ben?
I'm doing well, Tom. How are you doing?
I'm doing all
You're
right.
a little fried?
It's a little crazy down there. There's a lot of people.
This is a very busy New York Comic Con.
It is very busy. Busier, I think, than any year in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, this is almost like we were at San Diego a few months ago, and that one you expect to be kind of swarming.
Yes.
New York, much like the city, we expect to be welcoming, friendly, quiet. But today, just wow.
The booth is just packed with people.
Hard to get there. You can see the booth right behind us, and if they're giving away Avengers t-shirts like this one, forget it. Just get out of there before you get rented for win. But you were just at the Shattered Heroes panel. You made a couple announcements there. First of all, we announced the new creative team of Secret Avengers.
Yeah, the new creative team.
See, I'm saying tentatively because I wasn't there. I was like, I hope they didn't pull that at the last second.
I'm glad that you're saying tentatively because you're reminding me what we've announced because we announced so many things I don't even remember.
So two very certain people talking on camera.
Exactly. The new creative team on Secret Avengers starting in February once Warren Ellis and his band of merry artist friends finish up their run. Will be writer Rick Remender, best known for X-Force and Venom, and artist Gabe Hardman, who's been doing work on Hulk, the Red Hulk book. That'll start with a .1 issue in January. That's actually illustrated by Patrick Zerker. It'll feature some shakeups to the team. Hawkeye will be coming in to take over the squad. There'll be some new members. We already showed Captain Britain and a few other people. We have some mystery members who we've silhouetted and shadowed out. Giant Man will be in the book a little more. And it's just Rick doing the kind of crazy, over-the-top, bananas thinking sorts of stories that he typically does. The Avengers equivalent of doing a Venom or an X-Force.
So Rick is very suited for this, and he's going to be taking it in the direction we spoke to him. We're going to have the interview up on Marvel.com tomorrow. But as far as you being kind of the one in charge of the whole Avengers franchise, responsible for making sure every Avengers book kind of has their own purview, their own mission. What do you see the Secret Avengers role as being in contrast to the other ones?
Well, the Secret Avengers were formed by Steve specifically because in the aftermath of the End of Siege, the demise of Hammer, and his kind of stepping into that role, there was no S.H.I.E.L.D. S.H.I.E.L.D. was disbanded. S.H.I.E.L.D. had been replaced by Hammer, which was kind of corrupt top to bottom, and there was no salvaging it, so they just shut it down. So somebody had to deal with the kinds of situations that S.H.I.E.L.D. used to deal with, and that was basically the Secret Avengers. It was Steve and a hand-picked crew, and going out and taking care, typically before things really broke out, the sorts of quasi-espionage, under-the-radar kind of situations that S.H.I.E.L.D. day in and day out would typically have dealt with in the old days. But it's much smaller because they don't have a whole S.H.I.E.L.D. organization, although they've got a big Avengers organization, and they're all superheroes, which is makes it a little easier to deal with than just S.H.I.E.L.D. guys with zap guns and flak jackets.
On the other side of the country, away from New York City and the Avengers, you also talked about what's coming up with the Avengers Academy, specifically that the Runaways are going to be dropping by. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yes. Well, after Fear itself, during Fear itself, the Avengers Academy was hit pretty hard. Their base of operations, the Infinite Mansion, was decimated, was destroyed by the attack of the Absorbing Man and Titania. So they're going to be relocating. They're going to have a new campus on the West Coast, which is going to be set up in the old West Coast Avengers Palo Alto campus. Their old headquarters.
Set barbecues there, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah, all those old West Coast Avengers stories that took place there. It's the same spot, but it's been repurposed as the new academy, and they're going to be opening the doors wider. So while the series is still going to focus primarily on the core cast of characters that have been around since the beginning, there'll be a lot more interaction and flybys and appearances from young heroes from all across the Marvel Universe. Even before we get to Runaways, the X-Men will be dropping by. X-23 will be becoming a regular part of the book, so she'll be joining the team, and she kind of fits in because her situation and her background is very similar to the other kids in that she too was messed around with by people when she was first, in her case, cloned and created, and she too is kind of on the fence and could go either way, could become a villain as easily as she could become a hero. So bringing her in also kind of helps to cement some more ties with the X world, between the Avengers franchise and the X franchise, and that's kind of cool. And then a few issues later, we're doing a big Runaways appearance. The Runaways, obviously, they live and hang out on the West Coast. It seemed natural to bring them in. They're going to do a big adventure that will involve space portals and dimensional travel and dinosaurs and things. So it'll be nice to see those characters again up and around in the Marvel universe.
Cool, absolutely. And the last announcement we made was the Thunderbolts are going to be fighting the Thunderbolts.
Yes.
So we're going to have Thunderbolts versus Thunderbolts.
Yes. In the current run of Thunderbolts, Jeff Parker's been doing a storyline in which the T-Bolts and their tower have traveled back into the past, and we've seen them in World War II, and we're going to see them in sort of medieval King Arthur times and all these things. And on their journey back to the present, they're going to make a stop in essentially 1997 Marvel Universe, and are going to come face to face with the original Kurt Busiek, Mark Bagley Thunderbolts.
And Mark's going to be on covers.
Mark is coming back to do covers for the storyline, so it's kind of cool to see him drawing all those characters that he helped to design and originate all those years ago. And all the new characters that have since come in and that Jeff's been writing about. So it's a little sort of a homage or summation to the whole of the series, which has been running now for 14 or so years.
Yeah, it's past issue 150.
Yeah, almost virtually unbroken. One of the few titles from that era that's really been able to stick around and survive. So we're really very appreciative to everybody that supported the book all those years, and hopefully they'll dig what Jeff is doing and have been all these months.
We've got, actually right now on Marvel.com, we've got an interview with Jeff talking about the Thunderbolts versus Thunderbolts, so you can check that out. We have from our friend Levi B. Tompkins a question about Avengers Academy. Noted that X-23 is coming in, and of course X-23 is known as a character who kind of doesn't have maybe the moral restraint some others do when it comes to using lethal force. Is this going to cause a little friction with Avengers Academy where they're trying to teach a better way to do things?
I think it may have some friction with the instructors, but as we've seen in previous issues, the other actual students of Avengers Academy are in the same sort of boat. They too were messed around with in their formative years, in their case by Norman Osborn. They've all been picked out and selected to be part of Avengers Academy because there is the possibility that they could all go dark and go bad. So they too are kind of figuring out this whole hero-villain thing and where they want to be and what they want to be about. So in contrast to them, X-23 is not really all that much more violent, other than the fact that she has incredibly sharp knives that come protruding out of her.
About it.
Yes. But in the course of Fear itself, we pushed some of the Academy kids, putting them on the battlefield to the point where they had to make choices about what they were going to do, how far they were going to go in order to protect people or themselves, and we'll see the emotional fallout of that. And X-23 will kind of fit in very nicely with all of that. So the real answer is yes, we will see that, but as an extension of all the themes and ideas that have been running through that series all along. I hope I answered that question.
I think you answered the question. Yeah, absolutely. We also have a question, or not so much a question as a comment, and brings me to a question from Ravin Ray, who's saying, Tom, looking forward to Fantastic Four number 600. It comes out the same week as my parents' 50th anniversary celebration.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool for him.
So they were married on the day Fantastic Four 1 came out.
Yeah.
Congratulations, 50 years of marriage. Very nice. It is actually my wedding anniversary today.
Really? Today?
17 years.
Congratulations. Please send in some congratulations for Tom. 17 years of marriage.
Yes.
I'm working on 2. I'm going to get there.
Two is good. 2 is not bad. These days, not bad. And you can see the secret of my marriage is I'm here at a convention.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my wife is not.
And you have a very
so that really is the way it works.
Fantastic Four 600, huge deal coming up. We're going to be doing a lot of coverage on Marvel.com. We started working on some special stuff the other day. But what can you say about, we haven't released much about Fantastic Four 600, just a creative team that it's going to be huge.
Yes.
What can you say about what's coming up with this celebration of Fantastic Four?
I can say that I can say the creative team, and it's going to be huge. It's issue 600. It is simultaneously the 600th issue of Fantastic Four and the 50th anniversary issue. It is 104 pages. It's all written by John Hickman. It's all part of his insane master plan. It is literally every page in it, all new, all created by John. It's the big ramp up to everything that's been going on in the series as he brings all the storylines that began at the beginning of his run in 570, heading towards their ultimate conclusion, which is actually around 604. It's going to be going on simultaneous with the FF book, So it's not that we're necessarily turning the FF book back into Fantastic Four. We will actually have 2 titles at that point, FF and Fantastic Four.
FF is not going away.
FF is not going away. Juan Babio is coming on to illustrate that book. John is going to continue to write it. And the 2 series will work in lockstep as he builds up to the grand climax that he's been planning for 30 some odd issues now.
Now, you have so many books, Tom. We talked about you're editing Avengers books, you're editing the Avengers solo titles, you're editing Fantastic Four titles, a lot of the Shattered Heroes titles. Just to kind of take us out before we head off to some amazing Spider-Man panel footage, what are some of the books that you edit? I mean, I know they're all your babies, but I'm not going to ask you for your favorite, but what are some that maybe don't get as much spotlight that you'd like to see more people pick up?
Wow, it's always like you put me on the spot like that and everything completely goes blank. I don't remember a single thing. I guess the one thing that I would point people at, maybe the little not too well kept best kept secret, is the Warren Ellis run on Secret Avengers. Warren's doing an amazing job. It's a 6-issue run. Each issue is a single self-contained story. Each issue is going to be illustrated by a different cool artist, and they're really just big, enormous stories that could be 4 or 5 part stories compressed and mashed down into a hyper-dense, super accelerated, electro-charged, adrenaline shot of excitement that Warren gets through with these enormous, massive, crazy super science ideas that he's known for, and they're just tremendously well done. Every one of them is beautifully executed. We just sent issue 18 to the printer, which is drawn by David Aja and features Shang-Chi in a zero-G space station. So it's 3-dimensional kung fu fighting up above the curvature of the Earth.
That's a pretty great sell for any issue.
Yes.
3D. What do you call it? 3D interdimensional kung fu.
Zero G.
Zero-G.
The next one is Michael Lark and Stefano Gaudiano. I got stuck on Stefano Castelli. Stefano Gaudiano. They're doing a story where the Secret Avengers have to go in under cover of darkness to Symkaria to do a little jazz. It's a very different kind of espionage story with some older things. And then there's a crazy time travel story involving the Black Widow that Alex Believe is drawing. And then Warren's last issue that's being drawn by Stuart Immonen coming right off of Fear itself.
Well, Tom, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for spending your wedding anniversary with us here on Marvel Live.
Where else would I spend it?
If Tom's wife is watching this, I'm sure she's not. Got a great catch. He's talking about you the whole time, and congratulations to you as well.
Marvel, your universe.